Hey everyone out there. We are the IDP guys and Dynasty Football Digest. We are here to answer your questions, your start-sit questions this morning. Get them in and send them however you're finding us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, Twitch. There's all sorts of ways to get your comments in, questions, and we will answer them in order. We generally get to all of them. I don't think we've bombarded yet with too many questions. So we are here to answer your start sits. We're going to give it a little time. Make sure you're following us all on Twitter. I'm at Nate Cheat. We've got at Hollywood Titan and at BiddySitFF down there. We do this every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, and we go until no later than 12:30, but essentially until the questions stop coming. So here we are. And go to idpguys.org for our IDP content and dynastyfootballdigest.com for offensive content. And we're just, at this point, shooting the shit a little bit. How are you guys doing this morning? You got your coffee?
No coffee.
I'm already down to coffee, and I've spent the last hour and a half trying to build a climbing wall for my daughter.
Ooh,
interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's way too much activity on a Sunday morning, man.
I was sleeping yesterday, so today was my day.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I've been trying to get in and overhaul all of my lineups before the games and before the show. I think I did a fairly good job. For those that don't know out there, I lost my grandmother the past week, and pretty much fantasy football wasn't a priority. So now I'm getting back into the thick of things and checking and seeing, oh, hey, look, I'm not doing so terrible in sleeper that I thought was going to be my worst league. And those are, salvageable, but this last week I've got full expanded IRs in every league. So that's like 10 to 15 guys on IR.
Yeah. No, it's been pretty gruesome. Although I did read this morning on Twitter that actually the injury rate has actually been lower than like just anecdotally lower than last year. I think there's maybe some more high profile guys and maybe some it just seems a little bit worse because of, I don't know, your expectation, but I can't remember exactly who I saw was talking about that on Twitter, but the injury rate is somehow statistically down. I don't know.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that's. I think Johnny was telling me last night or the couple days before that something like 26 ACLs over the weekend.
Wow. 26? That's gross.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but it was something like way up there. And just throughout all those games, just tons of tears. I don't know. It has to be due to the lack of preseason, lack of proper training this off season. Closer to the season. But we've got our first question here from David Ray off of Facebook. Antoine Winfield Jr. or Marcus May?
You go first, Hollywood. You're the big IDP guru.
Who they got here? Who's Tampa Bay got?
Denver, I believe.
Yeah.
And
the
Marcus
Jets
May is
have
Indy.
The Colts. Yeah. Ooh, I think I'm sticking with the rookie Winfield. He's been lights out the first 2 weeks. I mean, May has too, but
this is a tough one. I mean, I think it's close. Those are two stud guys.
Yeah, it is real close. Very close.
So I don't think the matchup for either one is particularly juicy, and I just like Winfield's talent more. I think he is a true stud, and he's just growing into like who he's going to be versus May. I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he's like generational talent at safety or anything like that. So
I'm taking Winfield because they got the worst quarterback. Well, maybe they do. I don't know who's starting for Denver.
I think it's Driscoll because I think Bortles needs a little time to get ramped up.
Yeah, I think I'll take Winfield just because of the quarterback, but it's still close.
Yeah, pretty. So David Ray here says it's a coin flip. LOL.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, you're probably going to be fine either way you go. So I'd say, go with your gut. But if it was me, this is the way I'd go with Winfield.
Yeah. How about this one? Montez Sweat or Aldon Smith?
Oof.
Washington's playing Cincy, right? So I think I'm going with Montez. Montez is Washington, right? It's not because there's a sweat with Philly as well, right? Montez is with Washington. Yeah. I think I'm going with Sweat because I don't think Alden's going to get to Russ. Russ is hard to get a sack on.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I would go with Montez Sweat too. Plus, that front four is a little better.
That line has been amazing, like dangerous. Yep. I didn't get to see last week's, but the hurt they put on Philly, wow.
Oof.
Like
8 sacks week 1, was it?
Yeah.
What's that?
It was 8 sacks week 1 they had?
Yeah.
On Wentz. And I think I even think that I read that and again this could be totally off, but I thought I read that the Philly line had one of the higher pass block win rates week 1 as well. And part of it was just Wentz holding on to the ball too long and giving up sacks where he should have gotten rid of the ball. Again, I don't know for sure, but that's one sort of storyline that I'd read.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, there it is. Okay, guys, get your questions in. We're here to answer them. Where are you starting? What are you sitting? Where are you at? What about you guys? We never really go into our quandaries on our leagues. What kind of decisions are you all making? And Hollywood, are you starting Daniil Hunter in the IDP Invitational this week? It's been a bold move.
It's been a bold move, yeah. I don't have many other options, so.
How's that bet going,
This
guys?
will be the last week he misses.
How's that bet going?
What?
I mean, Garrett hasn't done much either, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shall see. That's.
Got me by just a little bit right now.
Yeah, I gave Hollywood the out, and
you did, but I'm not scared. I still think he'll come back and get you.
Bold. To be fair, I would have been on the Garrett side of that bet as well. I'm a big Garrett fan. I like Hunter, obviously, but I don't know, man. Garrett can be scary.
He can be.
He can be.
Even when he's not swinging helmets.
Right.
Right.
Oh man! So in one of my leagues, I got I'm in a 32-man salary cap. It's like a truncated league. Everything is set up to be. It's 3 years, so everything goes like really quick. It's the World War League. If you've heard anyone talk about it?
Yeah.
I made a major trade for Jimmy G in this offseason, and he's essentially my only quarterback. Luckily, I mean, this league, it's just one super flex spot. You don't need to have a quarterback. And so I'm able to put together a roster and everything. But that was 30. Oh, man, I want to say it was about 25% of my salary cap was on him. And now he's on IR, so that just freed up. So I'm back to having tons of money in that league.
I've never done a salary cap league. I think I'm sure it's interesting, but it just seems like just another level of fine tuning and research that needs to be done.
What I love about salary cap leagues is that it adds another dynamic that allows major trades to happen.
Oh, okay.
So say you've got Saquon Barkley on a huge cap deal. then you are more likely to trade him because that frees up cap space and you can get other players. So
Correct.
it just adds an element of movement.
Incentive.
Yeah, incentive. There's tons of trades
Right.
all the time going all around, and it's fun. I need to get in for next year. I want to start like just a standard salary cap. Right now I'm in 2 that I came up with the concept of that's different. It's supposed to be like very fast paced, where everything is the way the rules are set up. You have what might happen in 10 years in a salary cap league happening in 3.
Yeah.
A bunch of movement, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So,
Well, one of my biggest questions this week is on offense. I've got Anthony Miller on a lot of teams, and I'm really. It seems like it should be a sweet start for him against Atlanta, but after last week's donut, he's playing less than half the snaps. I'm really not comfortable with him, and so I got guys like. I think I'm going to play Corey Davis over him this week because Corey Davis is a good matchup as well, and AJ Brown is out. And Traquan Smith, kind of those 3 guys I've got in a bunch of different leagues that I'm kind of like flip-flopping between. I don't know. I'm leaning away from Anthony Miller, but I think I'm gonna have to play him in a couple leagues just in case.
So for a flex, would you do Marvin Jones, John Brown, or CD Lamb?
I can go on CD Lamb. I think that's going to be a shootout. They're going to be chucking the ball everywhere this week.
yeah. I got a question here off of Periscope. Would you start Corey Littleton? He's been off to a slow start this season.
Depends on the other options. I mean, they're playing New England. There should be a lot of opportunities for tackles in the run game because they're going to run the ball a lot between their barn of running backs and Newton. I would be tempted. I mean, it really depends on what your other options are, but I wouldn't. I am starting him in a couple leagues. I wouldn't be afraid to start him.
All right. It looks like he's added here Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen. Murray has a good matchup. I'm assuming that his 3 linebackers are Littleton, Murray, Queen.
Yeah.
So he needs to start 2.
I think I'm. I mean, Murray. They're all 3 down backers, right? None of them are coming off the field.
Right.
Who do you think the game script favors in this case? LA's playing against Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina
without a good run game.
CMC. Yeah.
So they're going to be throwing it more.
Yeah.
Probably. And you're talking Teddy Bridgewater. He's not known for his long throws. His deep passes.
Right.
But I don't think Murray's known for his coverage ability either. Not that he's incapable, but he's better known as a run stopper, I would say.
Okay.
I'm tempted to go Queen personally.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd go Queen over Murray, I think. Yep.
I think that's going to be a high snap game, Baltimore and KC. I think they're going to probably play a lot of downs, so more opportunity versus the Chargers. I think are going to probably be a little more conservative, run the ball a bit more, run clock, and I think same with the New England and the the Raiders. They do rely on the run game a lot, so I would say that's probably going to be a lower total snap game. So I think Queen, you get the most opportunity. So
yeah, that's very true because the Chargers can get up on Carolina and then just pound the rock with Austin Eckler and control everything. So yeah, I think that's solid. But all right, guys, get your questions in. We're taking them, going for however long we get questions. So we're here answering IDP as well as offensive questions. So definitely looking for anything that you got.
What do you
we
guys
like Superflex too?
Yeah. I'm in a lot of Superflex leagues now, thanks to COVID.
Yeah, I'm coining it the COVID-19 startups.
Yeah. if nobody else is going to get questions, then what are you guys making of the Las Vegas defensive ends this year? Obviously, a slow start. I think their schedule hasn't been super favorable to a fast start. I don't think it's going to, make any progress this week against Newton, but are you guys still? Because I'm heavily invested in Farrell and Crosby. What are you guys thinking there?
I'm still liking Crosby pretty well, but I wrote my stock market just came out yesterday, and I'm selling Farrell. I've got a bunch of him, but I've seen enough of him. I just don't think he's going to be what we expected.
Yeah.
I think you sell now while you can if you can get something for him.
What are you hoping to get for him? You selling now?
Oh,
third?
I don't know that you can. If you can get a third, you jump all over it. You have to. I mean,
yeah.
Hopefully his name and the excitement down there will carry a little bit, to get you something back. And he's going to do okay, but I don't think he's going to be what everybody thought he was. We're 18 games in now for him, and he's only got 4.5 sacks. So even if he picks it up, that's still going to put him, if he had 8 or 9, you're still like a DN 3. You're not in those top 2 tiers of defensive ends, and I think that's what he's going to be. Now, Crosby, I like Crosby. I think he can push as a DN too. So, yeah, I'm selling Farrell right now if I can.
I don't have any Farrell. I have some Crosby, and I'm just kind of sitting on him, waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
See him pop up. Well, we got a question here, something near and dear to my heart. 32-man team here. Gary Willis or Kenny Moore? He's got to start one defensive back.
I mean, all else being equal, I tend to lean safety, so I'd lean Willis. But I mean, depending on you get quarterback premiums, you get premiums on like pass breakups, things like that. Then Kenny Moore can definitely be a solid start. I think it really depends on your settings.
Yeah, it is. I got a question here. Talking Scott Fishbowl. I'm looking at my running backs are not exactly where I want them to be. So would you start Jamal Williams or Peyton Barber?
What was the first name?
Jamal Williams, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you go with him.
Did Barber get any work last week?
I would.
I don't think Barber got any work last week, and I think Williams is still involved in the pass game, which is, if you're going to have like a secondary role, that's kind of what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
I would go that way. I really don't think Barber got any work last week.
No,
I don't think he
got 1 yard on 1 attempt. But the previous week, he had 2 touchdowns, 17 attempts, 29 yards. Not really not good, but I mean, as a running back 4 in this league.
Yeah, I think they really want to see what they're getting Gibson, and they're going to give him a lot of run. And I think honestly, McKissick is going to be the one to spell him more so than Barber. But
yeah, here we go. Off of Periscope, Todd Davis available in waivers. Can I drop Aldon Smith? I have Garrett and Donald for DL. Those are really good DLs.
From what I'm hearing, Todd Davis is not going to be the answer up there in Minnesota. Yeah. That kind of scares me. I guess if you need a linebacker, he's worth picking up, but
honestly, if I had a flex, I would start Smith over Davis.
Yeah, I think I would too.
And I think there's a lot more value in a good D lineman than there is in a linebacker. Linebackers are much more replaceable in my experience.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because if Garrett or Donald get hurt or suspended, I'd be a lot more comfortable having Smith as the replacement as opposed to, if you had to plug Todd Davis in somewhere, you could find somebody else.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good. Good stuff. All right, get your questions in, guys. We are taking every question, putting them up on the thing, and discussing them. Roundtable here. Make sure you're following us on Twitter and following at IDP guys and at Dynasty SB Digest on Twitter. Had to think about that one for a second. Need Sean here to do his song and dance there. But how are you guys doing? What's your records looking so far in 2 weeks?
Let me do some quick math.
I'm kind of mixed. I've got a few leagues where I'm 2-0, and I got a few where I'm 0-2, but everything else seems to be right in the middle. 1-1, 2-2, depending on how many games you play. So I know in the World War League that you were talking about, I'm actually 2-0 in that league, so kind of happy with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Considering your start.
Yeah, I know.
Being able to fill out a roster.
Yeah, I know. I totally screwed that up. Oh my God, I didn't even want to talk about that, Nate.
That was amazing. In this league, we have 3 sets of drafts for the startup. You've got a startup auction that is like you just get 10 players. Then we do a rookie draft, and then a final free agent auction. And depending on like how much you're bidding on your starting players, Hollywood went into that last auction with no money.
Yeah, I was completely screwed. I was like, oh my God. I was just like, what did I do?
Yeah.
But I've worked waivers a little bit, and I've been able to pull it off. We'll see if I can get another win.
Nice.
So, is it one budget for all 3 auctions then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
See,
it's not
And I don't know what I was thinking.
It's 2 auctions and 1 draft, but the draft is based off of where you draft the player sets their contract and their value. So like
okay.
a first round player is $5 million for 2 years, and it kind of goes down, and then your 3rd and 4th round players are only contracted for 1 year.
Okay.
So it was an interesting concept. Seeing how it comes, but here we go. We got an offensive questions for us here. He's been hit with injuries. Brandon Cooks or N'Keal Harry as a flex play.
Ooh.
I'm still going Cooks over Harry. As long as Cooks is healthy, he's been productive. I mean, I like that Harry's actually gotten some action this year. He's actually, looked like less of a bust, but it's all been really, really like short underneath stuff. I think his depth of target's like 6 or 7 yards, like really, really, really short yardage option. I don't think he's gotten in the end zone yet. With his depth of target, the only way he's going to get in the end zone is if they're running from the red zone, and Cam's probably going to run it in if they're in the red zone. So, he's probably like a good safe floor play because he's probably going to get volume and he's probably going to get, a reasonable number of catches. But I don't see him as being the type of guy that's going to take one to the house on a 5-yard cross or anything like that. So I like the upside on Cooks. He looked really good last week as the de facto number 1 because I think Fuller went out, and so
yeah.
And Deshaun, I really believe in Deshaun Watson as a quarterback, and he's going to find somebody to put up some numbers. So I think it's going to be Cooks.
Yeah. All right, we got an injury question here. Is Matt Milano going to play today? And I'm looking at the injury report, and he had a full participation in practice. So while he is listed as questionable, I would err on the side of he's can be difficult to overcome. So, there's always that chance he re-aggravates it and winds up taking off early. But it looks like he'll suit up.
Yeah, I'm playing him where I got him. I heard the same thing. He's expected to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Flex question. 1 point PPR, Slayton or Mark Ingram on Monday Night Football?
Who are the Giants playing? We talked about this earlier. It's
San Francisco?
Right. And their D-line is So the New York O line is trash, but the San Francisco D line is decimated. So
I like Slayton. Personally, he's been doing pretty good. Just trying to think about Mark Ingram going up against Kansas City. I
think Ingram's going to get the more total touches.
Well, and this is 1 point PPR, so it kind of goes better for the wide receiver here. That's a good question.
That's tough.
When it's tough, I usually tend to lean running back just because I feel like volume is much more likely, and
the total touch.
Yeah, so
right.
I think they're both good plays. I wouldn't be afraid of either of them.
But are you scared about Are you scared with the timeshare that he's got Baltimore? Does that deter you any at all?
No, because I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a blowout where they have to get away from the run game entirely. I think it'll be a competitive game, and with that Baltimore run game, I don't really think that anything Kansas City does is gonna limit their efficiency. It's such an efficient run game, right? With the threat of Lamar running, the running backs typically get chunk plays in the run game. And Mark Ingram does have some involvement in the passing game. I think J.K. Dobbins is starting to cut into that a little bit, but it's not keeping Ingram off the field in run plays. So I think he's still going to have a couple of targets, and obviously he's going to get the early rundowns. So personally, because I'm not heavily invested in Ingram and I am invested in Dobbins, I'm kind of hoping that this is the Dobbins breakout in prime time, but. I think it's still probably going to be Ingram's still going to be a safe play up to now.
Yeah, I do see these guys both as boom bust with their matchups, with how they play, and there's a potential for both of them to kind of go off. I do think Slayton has a higher ceiling, personally. If Daniel Jones is able to get into a groove and can, throw a couple for, long bombs for touchdowns, I think Slayton has an opportunity to catch those, especially Sterling Shepard's out. What's up with Golden Tate? Is he back?
I think Tate's back, yeah. I'm not 100% sure on that. I honestly don't pay a ton of attention to the New York passing game, but...
True. But I like Tate more in the PPR game. Tate could take a check down pass and turn it into something, where I think Slayton can get that overhead ball and take it to the house if it's placed well. Ingram can also, have a few touchdowns, but if they get up to the goal line and stuff like that. I don't know if I necessarily see him punching through that line and going very far. A 25, 30-yard run. I don't really see that from him. So, but they're going to have lots of touchdowns in that game. That's usually a very back and forth. So, kind of a toss-up to me.
I read that Tate is questionable, but I can't find any confirmation of that.
I got the report here.
I think he's expected to play.
Probably. Here it is. Giants only have 3 guys on their injury report, none of them on offense.
Okay. So he should play them. Well,
wow.
What? Shepard's out. Is he not on the report? Because why wouldn't he be on the report?
That is true. Maybe this isn't fully updated yet. It's kind of probably coming in real time with. This is just coming from NFL.com. So.
Okay.
Right.
Sometimes
I
they
know we're
lag
an
behind a
IDP
little
show.
bit.
I know we're IDP, but what are y'all thinking about Devante Freeman as running back for the Giants? Yay, nay, don't know.
That line
I want to
is
see it.
a train wreck. I'm not invested. Like, if Barkley couldn't produce behind that O-line, I'm not holding my breath for Freeman. Now, I know they're obviously very different players, but
Right.
no, I wouldn't. Yeah, like Nate said, I'd want to see it first. I'd want to see some production before I start him. But I didn't even try to pick him up in any of the leagues that I have or that I need running backs in, because I knew people would overpay for him, and I wasn't going to pay for him.
Well, I actually got him kind of cheap in a couple places because I was desperate for a running back, but I just don't know whether, like this one league, Freeman or Benny Snell or Freeman or Jamal Williams. I think I'm starting Williams over him, but would you start Freeman over Snell? I mean,
yeah, Snell didn't really get any run last week. It was all James Conner. I think Freeman will get touches versus I don't think Snell will, but you know, I would hopefully that's an RB spot, not a flex spot, because I'd be definitely looking for a wide receiver to start over him if that was a flex spot.
Yeah, it is.
So, we got an update on Shepard. He's on IR, so that's why he's probably not on the report.
Shepard's on IR. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Let's get into Scott Temple's question here. He needs 2 Jordan Brooks, Terrell Dodson. One of those. Which one? Where you guys at? Yeah.
Well, I don't think Dobson's in, because I think Edmonds and Milano are both in this week, so I don't think Dobson's a play.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to go Brooks and Talkie.
Yeah, that would be my thought.
Nice.
Although I didn't get a ton of run last week either, but I don't think Dobson's going to get any snaps because.
Yeah, I don't think the volume's there.
Yeah.
Who to play? Jamal Dean or Emmanuel Mosley at cornerback?
If you get a lot of points for pass deflections, I think you got to go Dean.
Yeah.
I
would definitely recommend. What's that?
I said I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know who Jamal Dean is. Who does he play for?
Tampa Bay.
Okay. Yep. I actually like Mosley better, but who's Mosley playing this week? Just because like you said earlier, I don't think Denver's going to air the ball out a lot with the backup quarterback. But then again, when they do throw, there's definitely chances for interceptions there. So Dean could be a good play in that context.
Right. Excuse me. So sorry.
Yeah.
Bless you.
So I would definitely recommend going to idpguys.org and reading John the Greek's quarterback corner.
That thing's
an article where it goes through every single matchup and which quarterbacks to play, which quarterbacks to fade. It's a solid article that if you're streaming quarterbacks, that's a must read. So I would highly recommend that. idpguys.org. Hit that up. Let's see. Let's get the next one here. We got from YouTube, Jordan Reed or Evan Ingram.
You're breaking up, Nate. I'm not hearing much what you're saying.
Jordan Reed or Evan Ingram.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Evan Ingram, yeah. Okay. What do you think?
Ugh.
I feel like I'm monopolizing one of the questions.
No, you're fine. I kind of feel like Ingram has been a little bit of a disappointment from what people have been expecting. But Reed kind of scares me, you know. I think Reed, just because of the quarterback situation, they're going to kind of just quick throw it to him a little bit, so he may get the volume there. So bad as I hate to, I think I'm going Reed until Ingram shows me he's bounced back or whatever.
I mean, I agree. I think Ingram is probably the upside play, where if he performs to his abilities, then I think he's got a higher ceiling. But after Reed's breakout last week, he is the red zone target in that offense. With a backup quarterback coming in, like you said, shorter passing plays. He's a he's always been an extremely talented pass catcher when he's been healthy,
Right.
and he's healthy right now. So if you're not going to start him, in this situation with Kittle out and him healthy, I don't know when you're going to start him. That being said, I have him in a bunch of leagues. I don't think I'm starting him anywhere. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, here we go. Antonio Gibson, Hines, or Hamler? Pick one.
I'm leaning away from Hines. I think he was a popular pick last week because he looked good in week one.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh well, now it's going to be Taylor and Hines. They're gonna play the 1-2 role, and then Hines just didn't do anything, and it was like Taylor was 1 and 2. So I'm leaning away from Hines, and I haven't seen enough from Hamler yet, especially with a backup quarterback to play Hamler. So I'm going Gibson.
Yep, I agree. I think Gibson might be good for a big play or two as well. So,
and Washington's offense looked like surprisingly serviceable like last week.
Yeah, they were actually a little competent last week.
Yeah.
All right. This guy says he's planning to start Poyer if Tremaine Edmonds and Milano were out. Now it looks like they could still play. Keep Poyer flex. My other defensive back is Landon Collins, or start Tremaine. He says this is standard and balanced scoring. And he also has Shaq Thompson and Shaq Barrett. Would you start either of them instead of Poyer, Tremaine? And sorry for the long question.
You're starting Poyer, I think. Tremaine, you might bench him for Shaq Thompson, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say Thompson would be probably my first pick out of that group. Like we already discussed, LA could get up easy and just run the rock. I would.
Yeah, I would. Thompson over Tremaine. You start Poyer, I think, is where I'd go for sure.
Yeah, to me, I like. Obviously, if you have Tremaine, you want to start him, but at the same time, he could easily go with re-aggravate the injury, right? I think Milano was the hamstring. What was Tremaine's injury? Was it a shoulder? Can't remember.
Seems like it was, but I can't remember right off the top of my head.
Anyway, it just seems to me like the sort of thing where he's gonna try and go, and I think he didn't get a full practice in on Friday like Milano did. So I think of the two of them, I think Milano's a more likely play. If I had better options like you do, I'd probably lean away from Edmonds and go with Thompson.
Right.
Alrighty. Should I sit T.Y. Hilton and start Jerick McKinnon?
Oof.
I would.
Yeah, I think I would too. Yeah.
Rivers is not. Although I did read. Now take this with a grain of salt. I did read that T.Y.'s grandma called him out, and that rattles the cage a bit. I think he's going to be out on a mission this week, but I don't think it makes a difference if Rivers can't actually hit him downfield, because that's where I think he's got the most values downfield, and Rivers' arm has looked pretty cooked this year. So versus McKinnon, I think whoever gets the start in that San Francisco running game is going to have a ton of value, and I go McKinnon over Hilton in that situation.
Yeah, me too.
Just got an alert that Julio Jones will be out versus the Bears.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of trending that way earlier. And, one of my friends was asking me, I'm like, you may have to wait right up till game time on this. But
yeah, not surprised. But Calvin Ridley is looking like a sweet play this week. Even probably Russell Gage to an extent, because Gage has gotten some volume even with Julio healthy. So now they've been in a couple shootouts too. So I don't necessarily think that the Bears will be a shootout worthy opponent, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. So for everyone out there, get your questions in. We're answering them one at a time. We'll keep this up at least for another 20 minutes. Usually we stop around 12:30, but we might stop a little early just to give all of us, the hosts, a chance to get in and make sure our lineups are all set, get ready for the games. So get your questions in. I'm not going to make this last call, but it's coming up on last call. So with that, what are you guys looking forward to? Which matchup are you looking forward to this week?
Me, I'm looking forward to Seahawks and Cowboys. That's gonna be. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're both two of the most exciting teams this season so far, and playing each other. It's gonna be a beauty game. And they're both coaches are letting the quarterbacks finally air it out, so that's exciting as well. Plus, I'm heavily.
What about that game last week for the Cowboys getting that onside kick and winning the game last minute?
Oh,
I know Johnny probably pooped his pants and had a heart attack at the same time.
Split his butt cheeks.
I wish I was watching the game live because that was unreal. I honestly like that's just like a coaching failure in my opinion. Like your players need to know how to respond in that situation. That's situational football, and that's disappointing.
Yeah, I was freaking stunned. I'd turned that game off and I'd done forgot about it. And I seen the update and I was like, "You have got to be kidding me! That did not happen."
Yeah, that was a good one. I think I'm looking forward to the football team versus the Browns.
Oh yeah, that's.
I got a feeling Baker Mayfield is going to be enjoying a lot of time on his back.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
All right, we've got.
So, Vinny, what are you thinking about Chase Winovich this year?
So I typically avoid New England defenders because they play in such a rotation that you typically don't get the kind of production out of a guy, at least not week to week. They're gonna have weeks where just because of the game plan they boom, but it's not predictable and it's not reliable, and that's really what I look for in players. I tend to play in more so tackle heavy leagues opposed to big play leagues.
Right.
And so I'm not really looking for those big splash plays. I'm looking for the guys that are getting consistent production week to week. So I think he's looked good. I don't have him anywhere, so I don't know if his production has matched his the film. But from what I've seen of him and from what I've heard, he's looked good. And that I think that defensive scheme can produce reasonable numbers. It's just that they're typically spread out so much because of the rotation. What about you?
I'm liking him. I liked him last year as a rookie.
Yeah.
I just think he needs to get his feet wet a little bit and get used to it. But as a starter, I think so far he's got like 8 or 9 tackles this year, and I think he has a sack. But he's been getting the pressure, so they're using him. I thought he was going, or I still do. I was telling Dan, I think he's going to be that old style jack of all trade players that Belichick loves, such as Mike Vrabel or not Chase Winovich, Rob Ninkovich, and those guys. I see him being that role, and I see him excelling at that. They just need to get a little bit help around him. I think he could be something special.
But does he have the coverage chops for that role? Because there is some coverage demands for that role, right? Like he's obviously got the pass rushing. He's got the ability to stop the run game. But I don't know if he's got that third roll down.
Yeah, well, he did okay last week against Seattle. I mean, he didn't get burned, but he wasn't being no shutdown player either. So I think he can do it. I think it's maybe just him getting more experience at doing that. Not sure that that's what they're really wanting him to do because he's been a terror off the edge. He's missed a bunch. So
yeah.
Nice, yeah. No, I like Chase Winovich. I've got him on a couple teams, and I've been playing him. I mean, it's deeper leagues, so he's been good in deeper leagues for sure. But we've got a question here from Facebook. Looks like in standard, one flex, D-Jax versus Cincy, Cooks at Pittsburgh, or AP at Arizona?
I'm going D-Jacks against Cincinnati. I think that could be a shootout.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going Cooks. I think he's going to be probably the volume play in that Houston offense. I think AP is I'd say D-Jacks would be my second because I think AP's he's going to get very little run because Arizona's going to get up. No offense, Nate. Arizona's going to get up early, and they're going to have to get Swift involved in the passing game to have any running back involvement. So.
Yeah, I would not be relying on AP unless somehow it's a blowout for the Lions, which I don't know if we've got any matchups like that this year.
Now I think there is a glimmer of hope for Detroit because Galladay's back this week, and I think that's going to really open up their offense quite a bit because they just didn't have that guy that's going to threaten the the secondary that they have to game plan around, and so. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a huge game for Galladay. I just think that it's going to open up some other things in the offense, and they could show a little bit more. Because I was high on the Detroit offense coming into this season, right? I thought their O-line was back healthy, looked like they were in good shape. Stafford was unreal last season, and so I was high on their offense coming into this season. I thought their defense was going to let them down, which it has.
Yeah, it's terrible being a Lions fan. Terrible. Oh boy, but yeah, man. What about you, Hollywood? What's your matchup you're looking forward to this week?
There's so many good ones.
Of
course, I want to see my Titans play against Minnesota.
Yeah.
No. Got to see them. Their cousins. Who knows what he's going to do? He's played awful. So if he plays like that again, I feel pretty good about my Titans. But I'm looking at some of these other games. I kind of mentioned one a minute ago, Cincinnati and Philly. I think that could be a shootout. I'm interested. You took one I wanted to watch too, Washington at Cleveland. I think they're just going to harass Baker Mayfield. It's going to get ugly for him, I think.
Yeah, we're in that league together. Baker Mayfield isn't bad, and I've been petitioning Sean to change the name to Gardner Minshew isn't bad.
Oh,
did you watch Thursday though?
Oh, I did.
But I think,
and I had to start Minshew in a league, so oh my god.
I think we're just glazing over the obvious one this week. Chiefs Ravens is the game of the week. I don't think there's any question about that.
Absolutely.
And I think Packers Saints will be good as well. What's the other one that I saw that piqued my interest was Rams Bills. I think is going to be a surprise, like a little bit under the radar. I don't think because I think Bills are typically flying under the radar, and somehow I heard somebody allude to this week. I think it was NFL Network. Is like the Rams aren't getting that much, aren't getting talked about that much this year. Which after a couple years ago, McVay was the toast of the town. Everyone was talking about McVay's offense, McVay this, McVay that. Like they're kind of flying under the radar this year, which I think may be to their benefit as well. But I think that'll be a good game.
For sure.
Right.
So, off of YouTube, Watson or Tannehill this week?
I love our listeners. I love them.
I think it's Tannehill, and I love Watson. I love him. He's probably the quarterback that I have in the most teams this year. But I got Tannehill as my super flex in a lot of leagues as well because I liked what I saw last year at the end of the year out of him, and I don't think they've quite realized the potential that they showed last year so far this season. But that matchup against Minnesota, Rivers unloaded on Mayhews last week, wasn't it? And so. I don't think anything of Rivers. If he's gonna cook him like that, then I think Tannehill's gonna have a nice day. I'm starting. I guess I talked about earlier. I'm starting Corey Davis a bunch of places, Johnny Smith a bunch of places, just because AJ's out. So open up the passing game.
All right, rest of the season: Kevin Pierre-Louis or Neville Hewitt?
I'm going Hewitt because I just don't know enough about Pierre Lewis. I mean, can he repeat the performance he did last week? Just too many unknowns with him right now. I'd go with the safer floor and Hewitt if it was me.
I'm going back to last season. I'm a non-Hewitt believer, and not that I don't think there's enough of a sample size to be a Pierre Louis believer, but he's a guy that I was trying to stash on my bench like years ago. I think he started out in Seattle, like I want to say 4 years ago, maybe not quite that long. Anyway, because I saw a lot of potential in him from some of the reports that I read about him, and he never really got the shot. And so now I don't think there's nobody threatening his job in Washington. Not that anybody's threatening Hewitt in New York either, but I know Hewitt was productive last year, but it just to me just feels like the Jets were just so bad that somebody had to make plays, and it just happened to be him. And not that they're any better this year, so I'm not making a solid argument, but I would lean Pierre Louis because I think we don't know what he could be. We know what Hewitt is, I think. But
yeah.
Gotcha. All right. This one's if I have to make the choice between these three guys, I would be I'd be questioning it every week. But Budda Baker, Jordan Poyer, Marcus May needs two.
Isn't that the joy of fantasy football, though? Is you wanna put yourself in these situations where you seem so stacked that you have these torturous decisions every week, and then you always make the wrong decision.
Right.
What do you think, Hollywood?
Who's Arizona got this week?
Detroit. I'm definitely playing Budda Baker against Stafford.
Yeah, you're definitely playing Baker.
He's getting an interception.
Poyer's playing the Rams, and Mays is playing the Colts.
Man, I love Poyer, but I think he's the odd man out here based on the matchups. And if Marcus May hadn't been playing lights out like he's been doing, he would be the obvious bench for me. But I think you got to ride the hot streak with him. I'm going Baker and Mays right here. I think that's tough because I love Poyer. He's so solid. I think I sit Poyer this week.
Yeah, see, by reputation, I think
that's a tough.
By reputation, I think I sit Mays, like you said. I think he's the least established of the three, but he's been playing well, and I just alluded to the fact that somebody on the Jets has to tackle somebody, so the tackle's available.
Yeah, if you want to go safe, it's Baker and Poyer. I think that's your.
But if you want that big
floor.
play,
I think you go with Mays if you're looking for the knockout punch. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Is Jeremy Chin a hold and Avery Williamson an ad?
Chin's definitely a hold.
Definitely, absolutely. Who does he have at linebacker that he's wanting to add Williamson for?
Yeah,
that would be my question.
I don't know.
Williamson's not a guy that I'm actively going after. If he's on waivers and I get somebody to drop, sure. I don't know what his status is because he was hurt, was he not?
Yeah, and I think he's playing this week. If I was looking at some of these leagues, right, I didn't see any, questionable or out unless I overlooked it. But I think so. He must be back this week.
Let's see if I can find it on the
I'm not for sure.
Was he put on short-term IR? I guess all IR this year is short-term, but
he started the year on the PUP, I believe, and then he's got a Q tag, questionable.
He played last week.
But he was a full participation in practice, so I think he should be playing.
He did play last week. Let me just.
I mean, if he's an upgrade for you, yeah, sure, pick him up. I don't know that I would start him this week, but if you're needing the upgrade, then yeah.
Let me see snaps from last week. Because he had, I think, 3 total tackles last week, which isn't significant for a guy if he's playing significant snaps. I got him 0 snaps week 1, 17 snaps last week, only 28% of team snaps. So I think I wouldn't probably start him this year, but he could be worth a speculative add. Hewitt's getting the bulk there, and Ogletree got 56% of snaps last week. So neither played week 1, and Ogletree outsnapped him last week. So it sounds like he might not be the starter there just yet.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, I'm gonna say we got about 5 minutes, so this is gonna be the last call. We're gonna rapid fire through the last bit of questions and kind of walk ourselves out as far as give out our sign offs and where you can find us and what you can do to continue reading our content. So, Biddy, give us your where do people find you? How do they connect with you? What do you produce?
I write. I think I'm averaging about 1.5 articles a year right now on between DFD and IDP guys, because primarily I'm an editor, so I focus on that. But I do once in a while. I got a little bit of motivation this past spring when we were working on some draft evals. That was a lot of fun. So maybe next year I'll get into that again. We'll see. But in season, typically focus on editing and managing my teams. So, but you can always find me on Twitter at BiddySNFF. I've had a couple engagements recently where people, I guess Johnny's been tagging me on Twitter with questions, so I get a little bit of engagement through him. So I appreciate that. I do like engaging, but I'm not super active posting my opinions on Twitter. You got to kind of beat it out of me, but
there it is. What about you, Hollywood? Where are you? How do people find you?
And yeah, while I'm at the IDP guys, and while BD's only doing the 1.5, he's editing probably everything that I'm putting through there. So I keep him a little busy, but yeah, had 2 articles yesterday drop, the stock market and the look back at week 2, and I do IDP Nation. I do the daily IDP grind. We're doing the IDP lounge, so it seems like I'm always recording something, so which is a little more pressure. Yeah, so very busy. Got some Davey stuff fixing to come out too, so and you can find me everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, just everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, I was joking. I average about an article and a half a year, and I think Hollywood does more than that a week. So
almost per day, 1.5 per day. Yeah, he's very prolific. He's got his. We're glad to have him on the team for sure. You can find me at Nate Cheat on Twitter. I'm more the brains of development for the website, and I'm a host of IDP Guys. You can find us on idpguys.org, the podcast itself. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube to Writer Digest Network. You might be watching us there or on any of the other Facebooks or Periscopes or Twitch. I see you, Biddy. You're excited because there's a block in your cube. But yeah, we've got some exciting stuff going on. This season. Make sure you go grab a subscription, get access to the Slack chat to talk to all these guys pretty regularly. Biddy, you're pretty active in the Slack chat, though.
Yeah, I do a lot more on Slack than I do in Twitter. I prefer to keep my my opinions to people that have direct access to me, not everyone.
For sure. All right, we've got the last question of the day. Tremaine Edmonds, Shaq Thompson, or A.J. Johnson at linebacker? It's a good question.
We already talked Edmonds and Thompson earlier. I think we both agreed that we'd start Thompson over Edmonds.
Yep.
And Johnson playing Tampa. I think I'm going Shaq.
Shaq? It's close. Yeah, I think I go Shaq too here, but it's close.
Yep.
That's very close.
Those are 3 good options. Like, you're in good shape if that's your decision point.
Nice. There we go. All right, that's it. Make sure you check back with us next Sunday we'll be doing this again, starting at 11 and going until we decide to quit. Essentially, we answer every question. So I will say we've got 100% answer rate for all these questions. We did not miss one. So thanks, everyone,
Awesome.
and see you next week.